So at the end of the day, the Philadelphia Eagles traded Sam Bradford for Derek Barnett and Jay Ajayi. The Eagles used that fourth-round pick they acquired from the Vikings to send it out to Miami and get Jay Ajayi. I am wearing my fleece in honor of the Miami Dolphins organization because they got fleeced again. Again! For the second time. Jesus Christ, the Eagles get Jay Ajayi from the Dolphins. This is incredible. Wow. So now you are built for the postseason with two bruising running backs. Oh, the Eagles are weatherproof. They're postseason proof. They're ready to go. They're ready to go now. Now, the reason why I think this move was made, Dwayne Brown was traded last night. The price was set, right? A second, a fifth, and Jeremy Lane. So that pretty much took the Eagles out of discussion for getting one of those better tackles, like a Cordy Glenn or maybe a Kelvin Beachum. Joe Staley got hurt, so he got out of the running. So what the Eagles did, they helped out Big V by getting a back who can pass protect a little bit. Now, he's ranked 19th out of 44 running backs in terms of pass protection. So that's solid compared to what the Eagles had, because teams have been blitzing a lot on Carson Wentz the last couple of weeks, and the backs have not been able to blitz protect. They have not been able to pick up those rushers. Corey Clement, Wendell Smallwood, they've stunk. Terrible in pass protection. So that's like the one thing that's going to kind of go under the radar in this whole thing, and I wanted to start out with it. I wanted to start out with his pass protection more than his running skills because I think that's going to be important for the Eagles moving forward. So we'll see about Big V and how he fares. I still think the Eagles should go out and sign somebody. I don't feel good about having Taylor Hart as my backup tackle. It gives me a heart attack. So I'm hoping that maybe they can make a move for, say, a Brandon Albert or maybe a Don Barclay. I don't know if he's got signed yet, but I do think depth must be added moving forward. So getting back to Ajayi, I've been talking about for a while about how Doug Peterson wants to get back to playing power football and running the ball up the middle, churning all those yards. And, they did that with Garrett Blount. They signed him for this season. And then the line kind of struggled blocking up the middle. And obviously we knew about all that. And then they made the switch from Sayamalu. And, things have gotten a little better. But, they've been getting most of their yards actually outside of the tackles. Because Jason Kelsey and Jason Peters, that's what they do along the perimeter. That's what they do best. But getting a guy like Ajayi in here, not only is he just a bruiser, he's got quick feet for a guy that size. He's like 220 pounds. He used to play soccer. So quick feet kind of has brought that over from soccer to football. And, he's light on his feet. Now, sometimes the problem with him is sometimes he gets so cute that he looks for the home run on every carry. And actually, this is a complaint that Adam Gase had about Ajayi in a recent press conference, saying that, instead of just taking the 4 or 5 yards, he always tries to go for the home run. And I do agree with that. I do. But at the end of the day, we're talking about a guy whose yards after contact is 3.2 yards per carry, I believe, or whatever number I have written down, it's the best number in the last 12 years. 3.2 yards after contact. That's just extraordinary. And if he gets on the second level and he's got steam moving forward, he's a freight train. You're not going to be able to bring him down. So we saw LeGarrette Blount, what he did against the Chargers. The Eagles now have 2 guys who can go beast mode on bitches. That's what they just did today. They hired another beast mode. They brought in another beast mode. So they got 2 of them. It only for a 4th-round pick too. I saw Kelvin Benjamin. He got traded for a 3rd and a 7th, and I look at it's like all the Eagles had to give up was a 4th for Jay, and that was it. That was it. Because that 4th rounder, it's imperative. It's so important because with that 4th-round pick, you can get a guy like Donnell Pumphrey. You can get a guy like Casey Matthews. You can get a guy like Matt Barkley, Alex Henry, studs in the 4th round. Studs. Stud muffins. Yeah. Oh, man. But, you know, I really like that the Eagles made a huge move for the present without having to give up a lot of assets for the future. I think that's the biggest takeaway out of today. I would have liked the tackle, but obviously the price was steep. I even would have liked a guy like a backup, like a Sontrell Henderson or somebody for depth. I'm just – if Big V struggles or if he goes down, I'm not confident in our tackle spot at all. Taylor Hart, Isaac Seumalo might be the guy too. Whoever it is, I don't feel confident in. So I would have liked them to see them make a move for a tackle. But, you know, I like Jay Ajayi. Now, I will say this, though. This pretty much – well, I shouldn't say it takes them out of the running for a running back next year, but I did like Nick Chubb a lot. And there was a lot of good running backs coming up in this upcoming draft class. So, you know, if there is like a little – I don't know. I shouldn't say complaint because I'm not going to complain. But if there is a little thing, you know, because it's supposed to be one of the better running back classes in, you know, how long it's been, what, 10 years or whatever. So because there's so many good backs. Now the Eagles are just going to focus on a tackle, take a tackle in the 1st round, I think, and, you know, that's where they're going to go. So that's that. But overall, man, great deal. And as Philly 500 would say, what a move by Howie Roseman. What a move. So there it is. All right. I did this not on my phone because I knew I was going to get a rush of comments and I wouldn't be able to concentrate. So I kind of wanted to get into some things. I think I pretty much got everything I wanted to talk about. Not really that much to discuss. So let's see. Can Wiz play tackle? Potentially. Oh, EDP is here. What's up, bro? Good thing I looked at the comments. I don't know, Fedkiw. 4th rounders are gold. All right. Is Jay Ajayi the final piece for the Eagles? Well, I think tackle was where they needed to go. But, you know, I like it. Do I play Ajayi in fantasy this week? I would honestly say no, because not only has he played in Denver, he also doesn't know the playbook yet. I would think he will be more effective after the bye. That's kind of like, you know, my first guess there. So Taylor Hart might be good. Look at the Steelers now. They turned the D-line dude to a solid tackle. Well, Jeff Stoutland is a solid offensive line coach, but Mike Munchak is a different level, you know, when it comes to that. I'm pretty sure that's the Steelers O-line coach, right? Mike Munchak. They got a great, like, they just always develop linemen. It's unreal. Like, I remember a couple years ago, the Steelers were just in a terrible spot at tackle, and they were able to develop Alejandro Villanueva. They also developed Kelvin Beachum before he got hurt. He's now with the Jets. And even their right tackle, Marcus Gilbert. I mean, they're always producing guys. It's very impressive what they do in Pittsburgh. All right. What other questions we got? What's up, EDP? EDP the God, baby. What? No Gabe Tackler talk? Don't worry. We got a show on Kapler tonight at 7 o'clock. Tune in. Do you think we need a linebacker? My point about linebacker has been, well, I thought tackle was more necessary because I feel like the Eagles can kind of hide the linebacker spot a little bit because they play nickel a lot. So you can have Kendricks and Bradham out there for most of the time. Joe Walker, Najee Good kind of keep them on the bench a little bit. So that's why I thought tackle was the big position. The Denver pass rush definitely worries me. Absolutely. This is a game that I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles lost. I got a gut feeling about this game. Von Miller is going to line up on both Lane and Big V. I think he's going to have a huge game. So I know their offense isn't good, but that defense is worrisome. So it's going to be a game where, first one to 20 points wins. So Big V is going to get fucked in the ass by Von Miller. Oh man. Big V might get double penetrated, dude. Big V for big vagina. Fucking double penetrated. Wow, you actually answered my question. Yeah, I guess I did. Which question was that? Now I'm like looking back to see which one it was. Our defense will wreck. I mean, yeah, I agree. Our defense should be good. Big V's going to get gangbanged. Draft a tackle, move Peters to guard. Yeah, I definitely think they will be addressing tackle in the upcoming draft. That's where they're going to go. Absolutely. And I can definitely see it. Peters to guard. That was something that I brought up before. And it's something that Doug Peterson has talked about in prior press conferences, and even at the what's it called? It's called the breakfast luncheon or something with the coaches when they have the owners meetings, and they have like an hour presser. And I always love those pressers because Doug will kind of give you a sense of what he's thinking about. And he has talked about moving Jason Peters to guard before. So if he does want to come back, I don't think tackle is the spot for him. I think it is guard. So Lane to left tackle, Big V to right tackle. I actually like I prefer Lane at right tackle. I think he struggles sometimes in pass protection. We saw it on Sunday. Lane Johnson was the problem. It wasn't Big V. It was Lane Johnson. Johnson has struggled in pass protection this year, and he needs to work on that. Thoughts on Jalen Mills? Oh, I'm glad you brought up Jalen Mills because I meant to talk about the WIP. So WIP interviewed him, in turn because one of the reasons why Ajayi was traded. He had been getting with clashes with the coaching staff over recent weeks, not happy with the limited carries that he's getting. So Jalen Mills was on the Carlin Reese show during the afternoon, and he was talking about it. And on keeping Jay Ajayi happy, and here's what he had to say. As soon as you step on the field and you see the type of players we have, we're not selfish. We are a true brotherhood. When you see that and you feel that, it makes you open yourself to not be that selfish guy. Once Ajayi sees that, his guard's going to go down. He's going to see that we're a team, and we're going to keep it rolling. So interesting comments from Jalen Mills because, Howie Roseman talked about it too during his press conference today at, 1:30 it was. And he talked about they did all the due diligence to look into all that. And he said that he trusts the Dolphins. That's obviously an organization that the Eagles have made trades with before. So he thinks he knows the situation, and they have talked about that they don't want to bring in a character like that they think is going to disrupt the locker room, and that's why they didn't bring in Martavis Bryant. But this situation a little bit different. I don't feel like Ajayi is like a Bryant type. Ajayi did get arrested before back in 2011 for shoplifting sweatpants, out of all things. But he's not a Martavis Bryant. So I think he will fit in because that was my initial reaction to the trade was this. All right, because I am haunted by DGB. I'm haunted. So I'm like, all right, all it took was a 4th-round pick from Miami. That's it. So I immediately thought, okay. So what's up? I know that there's been an issue in the past with his knees. That's why he fell in the draft. I know that the Dolphins have held him out of practices during the season because they want to keep his knees fresh. Now, so you're talking about a guy that's only 24 years old that might not last a while in the NFL. That's kind of what they talked about with Miles Jack, if you remember. But to give up a 4th-round pick, I mean, it's it's worth a flyer. It's worth a risk. I mean, for Jay Ajayi, are you kidding me? You're talking about a guy that can be a top 10 running back in the league. Hell, he could be already. So he's only averaging 3.4 yards per carry. And, obviously had a great year last year. Obviously, the offensive line for Miami not doing a good job run blocking. I think it's a combination of that and a combination of Ajayi trying to do too much at times. I do think that quote about Gay saying he's a home run runner and doesn't take the 4 or 5 yards all the time, I think that's true. I've seen it. I've been watching the Dolphins games, and I've seen that. But, again, you're talking about a 4th-round pick. That's it. I mean, why wouldn't you do that? So, I mean, I just listed down the plethora of Hall of Famers that the Eagles have drafted in the 4th round. Donnell Pumphrey, Alex Henry, Matt Barkley. So, obviously, this is a no-brainer. And, again, I'm wearing the fleece in honor of the Miami Dolphins organization. Getting fleeced again. All right, let's see. What other comments we got here? I think I touched on everything, right? I don't know if I missed anything or not. Ajayi can run outside the tackles like Doug likes. Yeah, he can do a little bit of that. He's better up the middle. Yeah. He's officially our every down back for this year. I still think they will mix in LeGarrette Blount, though. I think I get the sense you're probably going to see like Ajayi like 15, 20 carries maybe, and Blount get around 10, something like that. So Greg Robinson for left tackle this offseason. He is a free agent. Tell you guys right now, we do not want to sign that guy. You do not want to sign Greg Robinson. He stinks. Robinson is at it. I mean, he stinks as it is. He's at his best actually as a run blocker. So as a pass protector, he's not cutting it. Do you think we should sign Donnell Ellerbe? Yeah, that was a name that I heard they worked out. I know they worked out a trio of linebackers last week. It was Donald Butler, Jelani Jenkins, and who was the other guy? Sean Spence. Now, the guys that they worked out last week, Jenkins and Butler, those guys are actually better in coverage than Ellerbe. Ellerbe is more of like a thumper. So I would actually prefer the other backs that we worked out over Ellerbe. But Ellerbe is still better than Walker and Good, I think. So the homie told me Jay Ajayi is exactly like Ezekiel Elliott, about the same, if not better. I'm like, what the fuck? I mean, I don't think he's Zeke. But the other thing I forgot to mention, he will provide a threat in the backfield. He had 50 receptions during his junior year at Boise State. So he hasn't really been used much as a pass catcher in Miami, but I think that will change here in Philly. So your kind of pass catching back was Darren Sproles. The Eagles have kind of struggled to replace that. Not that Jay Ajayi is going to be, freaking doing what Sproles does, but you can sprinkle in some the screen passes, the passes out in the flats, and stuff like that. You the king. I try. Plus, he's got an extra year on his contract for $700,000. That is good return for a 4th-round pick. Yeah, man. Hold on. Jeff McClain is a dingbat. Said Ajayi isn't part of the Eagles' long-term future. He could be. I don't see why McClain would say he's not. Yeah, but yeah, the contract situation obviously is very encouraging. He was a 5th-round pick, so not getting paid that much. So to have that for 2 years is a great thing. What about Jay Ajayi at punt returner? I think Barner's going to retain that role, but it will be interesting to see what the Eagles do. Are they going to keep all these backs? Now, I know that they made room for Ajayi by putting Hicks on the injured reserve. So are the Eagles trying to get T.Y.? Well, the trade deadline has gone and passed, so no more trades for today. Trade deadline was at 4 o'clock. So the fact that I haven't heard anything, I don't think anything is going to happen. We got to give Joe Douglas some credit. He's been a huge help. Joe Douglas MVP. Dude, I love Joe Douglas. And, you know, the thing about Howie, the thing about Howie for me was I hated him as a drafter. He's got no eye for talent. But you bring Joe Douglas in here now, all of a sudden, all he has to do is worry about cap and making trades. And that's what Howie Roseman does best. So this collaboration that Jeffrey Lurie talked about is literally working. It is working to perfection. Joe Douglas is scouting all the players. He's the one making the draft picks. It's not Howie Roseman. There's no doubt in my mind. It's Joe. And then we look at these type of situations, the trades and the cap and working all that magic. That's Howie. It's a pretty good duo, huh? I think Smallwood is going to be the biggest loser from this trade and is going to be the one that loses the most snaps. Yeah. I think he's kind of – I don't think Wendell Smallwood is very good. I've never been a fan. Yeah, I mean, I don't think he gets cut or anything. I wonder who would get cut potentially. I don't know. I don't know if they would cut someone. They might just keep all of them. So, what is your prediction for his stats this year? It's kind of hard to predict because I don't know what his carries are going to be. But I will say that he will average – I'll say he averages more than 4.4 yards per carry with the Birds. He's only averaging 3.4 so far this season. So, would you start Ajayi over Blunt? I would start Ajayi over Blunt starting with the Dallas game. But for this weekend, LeGarrette Blunt should be your starter. It's amazing how they turned the team around after Chip destroyed them. Dude, yeah. If the deadline wasn't in effect, I would trade Smallwood and a 5th rounder to someone for a lineman. Dude, that's what I wanted, man. I mean, I love that they got Jay Ajayi, but I wanted a tackle. That's what I really wanted. And again, it didn't have to be a huge name. It could have been a backup somewhere. You know, that's where you got to trust your scouting. Somebody that maybe you liked a couple years ago and some team has them, you know, kind of just stash on the depth chart, not getting any snaps. That's the kind of move you make. It is you know, maybe a Smallwood, like you were saying, and a mid-round pick for a guy like, I don't know, like Sancho Henderson was a name that a lot of people like to throw out there. But, you know, he's just an example there. But there you go. Is Josh Sitton good? Josh Sitton is one of the better guards in the league. What number will Jay wear? He is wearing Brian Westbrook's number 36. This team, hell yeah. Browns botched last-minute trade. That's, oh my God, I laughed at that. So they finally want a quarterback, and they still couldn't get it right. Nobody's wondering if this guy could be a poison. I mean, I don't know. I get the sense that when you're winning, it's hard to have poison around. Maybe that's something you look out for down the line, but not right now. There's no way he can walk in here and be a poison on. Like I don't see that happening. I can't stand Pumphrey, and it's not his fault. But Jesus Christ, dude, they might literally like cut bait with him and just get rid of him. I don't know. Elephant in the room. Why wasn't Sturgis dealt today? Woo, too many questions. Hey, Adrian, what do you think they're going to do at Pumphrey? This is a interesting decision that they're going to have to make. Now, heading into the offseason, I mean, now since Blunt is on a 1-year deal, right? So they may elect to not bring him back because you have Jay Ajayi. But I'm just looking at where Pumphrey kind of fits. I'm just like, That's one where you're just like, you made a mistake, you realize it, you cut bait, and not make it any worse. I think they should just cut him. Big V is going to be the Walter Jones. Yeah, and I'm a malnourished African bitch from EDP, you are the man. Do we sign a free agent tackle then? I mean, that's something I talked about near the beginning of the show. I do think that Brandon Albert, since he's still available, I would definitely go and look at him. Yeah, I talked about that earlier. He's 19th out of 44 at run blocking. 49ers versus Browns. Who would you pick? Oh, Niners, dude. Niners without a doubt. How pissed is Kirk Cousins today? I'll tell you what, that's an interesting decision that the Niners made yesterday by trading for Jimmy Garoppolo. So you have a quarterback class coming up that's supposed to be very good. Sam Darnold, Josh Rosen, and they were like, nah, we want Garoppolo. We want Saquon Barkley. Is Ajayi faster than Blunt? Yes, he is. Biggest threat for Philly is Seattle, only because of Dwayne Brown now making their line better. The fact that Seattle, and now I realize that they desperately needed a tackle, but the fact that they overpaid for Dwayne Brown like they did, that tells me that they know that Philly is a legitimate threat. Because, well, if anybody's going to get to Seattle's O-line, it's Philly. If anyone's going to completely batter them, it's Philly. Well, the Eagles use Ajayi in the passing game a lot. I don't know if it's going to be a lot per se, but I think he'll be used more than he was in Miami. So, all right. All right, I'm about to end this one. We got a video coming up at 7 o'clock. We're going to talk about Gabe Kapler and new Phillies manager. So I'm sure nobody will give a shit about it, but we're going to do it anyway. I know Sean's going to tune in. Sean loves my baseball and hockey knowledge. So there we go. All right. Now moving forward, let's hope Jay Ajayi works out. Let's hope that Big V is freaking a lot better than we think he's going to be. And there we go. All right. All right. I'm out of here, guys. Peace.